Hello there, World of Tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be playing in the Type 71 and comparing it to the IS-4. Both of these vehicles I actually feel like are very similar playstyles. They have similar armor profiles, and overall, their guns are even very similar. So I thought it'd be a pretty good comparison to talk about both of these vehicles, their strengths, their weaknesses, and which of the two I think is currently better to not only grind for, but play at tier 10. Now, the IS-4 just got a PBR rework, and I gotta be honest, I don't actually like what they did to the armor profile of the armor rework. If we take a look on Armor Inspector, we can see what they've done. First of all, this did not used to be a weak spot, and you might think, well, that's really troll to aim at. It's not, because you can load heat, and then the entire turret ring becomes a weak spot. Obviously, the upper plate of the IS-4 has always been hard to pen with AP, but pretty easy to butter through with heat, and obviously the same for the lower plate. But now we'll notice that there's this little bar under the turret ring which did not used to exist previously for the IS-4, which makes it a lot weaker when trying to fight opponents, especially hull down. As well, the IS-4 now has weaker turret cheeks here and here, which used to not be weak spots as big, but now they are much larger weak spots. Overall, I actually have to say I think the IS-4 lost armor with its PBR rework. The only part of the IS-4 that got better was the side armor and this lower part here that is now angled. That allows it to get a lot more troll bounces on this lower part, but apart from that, you'll notice the IS-4 side armor is pretty dang average. It's not anything spaced. It's not like the IS-7 where you're going to struggle to pen it at all. The entire side of the IS-4 only ranges from about 150 to 180 at thickest, and the side of the turret as well also got a bit of a nerf because it came flatter, so now if you're aiming at the side of the IS-4 turret, it's about 220 to 240 instead of the previous like 250 it used to be due to the angling. Overall, the IS-4's armor is still very good, and to be honest, the thing that makes the IS-4 so strong is not necessarily the fact that it has good armor. It's the fact that it gets troll bounces every now and then it's also the fact that the IS-4 just has incredibly good survivability because of the hit points and the gun it carries. The IS-4's gun is just great. It's not amazing on its accuracy, but it's amazing on the penetration, sitting at 374. That means that essentially anything you're fighting, you're not going to struggle to pen, and judging that you're in a tank that they are always going to struggle to pen, that's a flat dub right there. Add that onto the fact that you have 2,809 hit points, and that's pretty dang insane. The IS-4 has a top speed of 38, a reverse of 14, and an average speed of 27, followed by a power to weight of 13.5. It's definitely not the fastest heavy tank out there, but I wouldn't call it the slowest either, although I will say power to weight ratio wise it is very slow. What the game is telling you in-game is the effective power to weight on hard terrain, which is roads on like Himmelsdorf or any type of flat, hard terrain. However, the majority of terrain you're going to drive on in Blitz is medium terrain. If you're on desert sands, the entirety of that map is medium terrain because obviously it's all dunes and sandy. If you're on any sort of rocky or rough terrain like Falls Creek on the dirt, that's all medium terrain. So the majority of the time when you're driving, the IS-4's power to weight is actually around like 11. It's not a very fast tank, similar to like a T110E3, just with a higher overall top speed. So here we are. Our first battle, we have an AMX-50B, an FE2 and 5B, and an EMIL-2. They also have an E-4. I could slightly consider that to be a heavy tank as well. But yeah, you'll notice this here is medium terrain. This is a perfect example of where the IS-4 is definitely not incredibly fast. I mean, we're only going about 25 right now, and as I said, the top speed's 38, so we're still accelerating 32, 33... Still getting up there. Oh, there's a Sheridan who is able to just butter right through my side. Not much to really counter that. That's why Sheridans are, in my opinion, one of the most annoying tanks to fight in tier 10 is because they can just get away with doing what they want. You know, it's like, oh, look, you poked? Darn. But we have finally made it in the position here, and not really seeing all too much. We got the T-30 in the back and a camping EMIL-2. Well, doesn't surprise me, but as I said, the heat pen on this vehicle is fantastic, and that was a perfect example right there. Heat pen buttered straight through the enemy there with no problem whatsoever. We have the Progetto off to the side, the EMIL-2 is camping in the back, not exactly sure why, but there you go, another nice slap into the enemy FE2 and 5B turret, and he's not enjoying that all too much, I can tell you that for a fact. Now, the EMIL-2, I'm not sure if he's still sitting back there, but we'll take a blind shot. He's definitely sitting back there. It's more of a question of If he was poking, yeah. Alright, well, we've got our team, which needs to push. I'm going to help out my K91 on the side over here, but I can't help him out all too much if nobody's going to push on the other side. So I'm going to try and help out the K91 over here, stop the enemy from doing what they want to do. There's a AMX-50B, and boom, nice HE into his vehicle, 522. And the great thing about the IS-4 is down to the fact that if the enemy tries rushing me, I've got so much HP that it's not really much of a worry. We got another nice HE into the 50B, and at this point he's just running, but he's not going to be able to get away as we finish him off with the final shell. So already, we've been able to get a pretty decent slap off of the enemy team. We're going to back up from the T-110E4, making sure that he can't pen me, and now we're going to make our way over this way towards the Sheridan. Now, once again, the Sheridan's the only tank that has penned me this game, but this time the last laugh should be on me. I've got a lot of HP left, and as we can see, the Sheridan's going to try and get behind me. Okay, well, if I get tracked over and over and over again, then maybe he will. But obviously there's not much I can do about that, so that's a bit unfortunate. Let's just get another shell into the Sheridan, and I just want to make sure right now that the Sheridan won't pen me. Yes, nice. Progetto might kill me, might not, but you know what, Sheridan? As I said, I'm getting that last laugh, baby. So we were able to finish off the Sheridan, and with that, now all our Badger has to do is clear the Progetto, and this is a win. This is what makes, as I said, the IS-4 such a good vehicle. It is the fact that you can just buy so much of a distraction on the enemy team. It is the fact that you can waste their time that you will come out with a victory. Even though that Sheridan and Progetto killed me, it took them so dang long to do that, and I was able to finish off one of them in the process. So it's a win for me. Either way, I did probably pretty good. Yeah, 3,024 damage, which is a decent chunk for the IS-4. Block 1,640, and this is why the IS-4 is just such a good vehicle, is the fact that it's got so much HP, the fact that the gun rarely misses. I really like the IS-4 in that aspect. I don't want this background. Nope, nope, go away. I hope that didn't set it. Okay, we're good. But that's the IS-4. It's a pretty good vehicle. It definitely has some weak spots, but overall, it's just a really good holding and pushing vehicle. The Type 71, I still believe, is better than the IS-4. First of all, grinding up to the Type 71 is flat easier. Type 68 is great, even the stock gun on the vehicle, oh, misclicked off the game. Even the stock gun on the Type 68 is just good. I mean, it's got not the best pen at 336, but it's APCR pen. That's really good, actually, judging that the vehicles like the FE2 and 5 only have 341 or something like that. So it's got pretty good gun for even stock. The Chisei gun stock as well as 260 millimeters of pen and the same basically alpha. The only difference is the DPM. Great gun as well, and the Judo gun's really only the bad stock one, but once you get to the Chisei and the Tier 9, all the guns are great, all the grinding is great. When it comes to the opposite of the line, being the IS-4 line, I wouldn't say it's great. The KV3, KV4, and KV2 are all fine. The KV4 stock is absolutely dreadful, though, I will say that. The stock turret is atrocious, so make sure you can get that top turret, because look at the armor differences there. But not only that, I should also point out that the ST1 stock has one of the worst turrets in the game, 160 too thick on the front. Terrible, just absolutely terrible. And if you're running the stock gun and you haven't ground for the IS-3 line yet, you're going to be using this gun and not this gun. So yeah, overall, the ST1 is an absolutely painful grind. You want to make sure that you have enough XP to get all the modules all the way up to the top gun unlocked, or it's going to be awful. Now, once you get the ST1 fully equipped, it's actually pretty enjoyable. But yeah, grinding-wise, the Type 71 is flat better. And when it comes to the armor profile, I'd honestly say it's also flat better on the Type 71. This is the IS-4, and we can see that that lower plate is never really a struggle to pen until the sides are completely penetrable. But now look at the Type 71. This is the type on flat. The upper plate is 290, which means that AP shells, whether you're running enhanced or not, are not going to penetrate the upper plate. And the lower plate, as we can see, is incredibly troll because of how steep the angling is on this lower plate. You can see here that this is all the lower plate's angling. Because of that, if you just angle this lower plate a little bit down, that is completely impenetrable. So you cannot pen the upper or lower plate of the Type 71 at an angle like this. Or you can turn it to the side again, auto ricochet on the lower plate, even if you're loading heat, heat. The Type 71's upper plate's super thick, and look at this armor. I mean, this is why the Type is so dang hard to pen, is because of how incredibly troll it is. Now, the side of the Type as well you might think is weak, but it's really not because of this stupid thick track wheel here. You cannot pen the side of the Type 71. So overall, I think the Type's armor frontally is better. And yes, you do have a turret ring weak spot here, but when you're hull down, that is not really visible, and the only spots you're going to be able to aim at are these cheeks, where the IS-4 has this big old bar here. Honestly, I think the IS-4's turret is worse than the Type 71's now. You do have a hatch, I will add that, and the hatch obviously doesn't exist on the IS-4, but I just think that the Type's turret overall is better, especially if you just use the Type correctly, and you only poke the side that the hatch isn't showing like this, and then you're completely fine. So overall, I think the Type's really good at that aspect. The side armor as well is pretty dang solid for side scraping because of all these troll spots here. If you're loading heat, you won't pen the sides really at all because of the fact that it's all space, so you're going to have to load AP. Then you definitely have a higher chance of penning it, but still very, very troll. And when it comes to the rear armor, you cannot high explosive pen anywhere on the Type. 157, 104, and 106. Compare that to the IS-4, and you can actually HE the roof of the turret, which is only about 78 millimeters thick. That means if you were to pull out a vehicle like an Object 268 and load HE, you actually can penetrate the roof of the IS-4. So overall, I personally believe that the Type 71's armor layout is better than the IS-4. The vehicle is quite a bit larger, I should point that out. You can see the size differences here, but even with that increased size, it's not that much of a downside because the Type 71 is just that much better on the frontal armor. Now, when it comes to mobility, the Type 71 was nerfed in the latest update, and a massive nerf at that to its mobility. So you might be thinking, okay, well, does the IS-4 have an advantage there? And unfortunately not. I've actually gone from running improved suspension to empirical stabilizers back and forth, seeing what is better. Should I have more gun depression, or should I have more mobility? And I really wanted to like the gun depression more, but I have to say, after putting on mobility, the Type 71 just feels flat better. Not only is it much more mobile than the IS-4 on traverse speed on medium terrain if you're running the improved suspension, but as well, we're already up to our top speed. The IS-4 does not accelerate this quickly, and because of that, it's just not even nearly on the same comparison. I should also point out that the Type 71 has a much more accurate gun on move than the IS-4, while carrying the same dispersion values, which means overall, the IS-4's gun is just a bit worse than the Type 71. So, got a nice slap into the IS-7 right there. By the way, look at this traverse. I mean, that's still pretty solid traverse speed. Definitely a lot better than you would expect it to be. So we got the IS-7 over here. He actually does hatch pen me, which is a bit unfortunate for me. We can see that right there. The problem is I'm poking the side where my hatch is visible, which means that it is a bit of an easier penetration for this IS-7 to hit my hatch. But if I do that and wiggle back and forth, it's a lot harder to pen my tank, and we can get a very easy pen back in. Now that was a 183 shell right there. That did end up bouncing me. So definitely something I'm going to have to be careful of. Also the VK72 on my side. Another thing I'm going to have to be careful of. A 765 roll. Judging that I have nobody helping me over here, I'm actually just quite possibly a bit screwed. But I can't really blame the Type 71 on this. That's just a bit unfortunate on the cards we have been dealt and what the enemy team is doing. So I'm just going to be very, very cautious here. Get another slap into the VK and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Back on up. Come on. Oh my god, he just went right through again. Come on, bro. And another ridiculously high roll at that. But that's kind of how the Type is. It's really good at getting bounces, but it definitely can struggle every now and then. But we can load a very easy heat shell into the VK72, and my teammate finishes him off. We just have to wiggle. There you go. There's the bounce we needed, so we're still alive. And this is what the Type's great at. It's just really good at getting a bounce here, getting a bounce there when you really, really need them. Now, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, as it looks like the other side of the map, our team is not doing all too great. We got the 183 off to the side, and this 183 appears to be sending it full steam for me. So I'm going to drive over here. We're going to get a nice slap into him, but if you take a look at this game right now, it's just me, an IS-7, and an FE2 and 5B183 left. So unfortunately, doesn't look like our team did all too well this battle. I'm just going to try and face-hug this 183, but I doubt it'll make all too much of a difference, as he literally just shot us with a Hesh on the upper plate. So, unfortunate. We were not able to come out with a victory in this battle. Nice shot from the E4. That's actually a pretty impressive shell. I'm very, very surprised he managed to finish off that enemy Sheridan there. However, it's not going to make much of a difference, as There you go. So we actually did pretty good. Even though we got bled out by that VK-72, he was able to hit us in the hatch. And that is one downside of the type, I should say, is face hugging. Its hatch is pretty weak. And if you're a much taller vehicle like a VK-72, you will be able to penetrate that hatch. But at the same time, I should also point out that I can't imagine we would have done much better in the IS-4 there, and we still did 3,741 damage. I'll do one more battle in the Type 71. I don't think it'll make a huge difference, but you might as well, right? See if we can get at a better game than that. But overall, I really like both of these tanks. I think that they're both pretty dang powerful, but as I said, it's the fact that the Type has that much more mobility. It's the fact that the gun feels a little bit nicer, and the reverse speed, I should also point out, is a little bit faster at 1 kilometer per hour, better than the IS-4. That doesn't sound like a huge difference, but trust me, it definitely is. That's a 7% increase. If you had a 7% increase in top speed on a vehicle like the RU251, that would be a huge, huge increase. So, respectively, it doesn't sound like that much, but 1 kilometer per hour is a big difference. Alright, well, here we are. I want to get around the C100, but unfortunately, I can't. I hate when that happens. I hate when there's a big old boy who's not going to turn. He's going to go straight to A. Oh, maybe he is going to... No, never mind. I don't know why people have such a hard time knowing which way is the correct way to go on maps. It's always the same people, but unfortunate. We got a 50B and E100 going the wrong way, which is already going to put a huge hurt on our effectiveness on this side of the map if the enemy team goes this way, which it appears they are. Our T100LT way overexposed his tank. He's dead. So, once again, I actually think this is going to be another defeat. There's not much to really do about it, but I think that's going to be the case. Now, that was a really, really unfortunate bounce there on the AMX, but at least we were able to get a bounce back, so can't really complain all too much. This AMX's tungsten shells looks like it's going to wear off. There you go. Nice slap into you. Now we got the Type 71 and AMX on me. We did get a nice bounce from the Type 71, but unfortunately it was not enough of a bounce to do both here. I need to back up because I don't want to be shot by the... never mind. Never mind. Our AMX 50B and E100 are just completely throwing this battle. I don't even know where the E100 is. He's... I don't know. I do not know where he went. There he is, yeah. So this is just getting thrown by our team here. But we got a nice pen into the Type. The gun on this tank, as I said, is pretty dang nice. And you can see that it's never really a problem on aiming circle. So that's always something nice. There you go. Just very easy heat penetration into his vehicle. Now we're getting penned in the side by the Patton, which is just another bit of extra slack I have to deal with here. Let's aim it on the side of the Type. There you go. And, well, I'm just going to wiggle my tank back and forth. Let's see if I can get a bounce from either of these vehicles. There you go. Nice bounce. Keep on wiggling, and alright, nice. We were able to back up. This AMX turns his turret. There you go. Nice pen. There you go. Nice bounce. So, you can see the armor on the Type is pretty dang solid. I mean, we are getting a lot of bounces, and that's what I really like about the Type, is the fact that the armor does do just such a solid job at this. It's just really, really dang troll, and enemies trying to pen it will definitely struggle. There's the enemy Type. You can see I bounced him, but once again, it didn't matter. Full health E100. Full health 50B. I know I'm lagging a bit, but really, guys, really. A whole team calls to go over towards this side of the map, towards base B, towards base C. And these two knuckleheads just go to the other side of the map and completely throw an incredibly easy victory. As much as the Type 71 and IS-4 are great at holding, and the Type got a lot of bounces this game, it doesn't matter when your team is full of nincompoops that have no clue what they're doing. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I like the Type 71. It's a great vehicle. When you got a player like the C100 shooting HE at M48 Patton turrets, it's not going to make too much of a difference. I just want to see how much damage we ended up doing in this battle. And there you have it. A loss with a wonderful heavy. Oh boy. It's always sad to watch an incredibly easy win be thrown by players that do not understand which is the correct way to go. Didn't do all that much damage, but we blocked 2,200 damage, which is quite a bit actually, and we did by far the highest on our team. So, as I said, the Type 71 is a pretty solid vehicle, and unfortunately, even though you might get some really bad teammates which can cause you to lose, you can still do pretty decent for the cards you have thrown on the table. At the end of the day, I think the Type is still better. I just think that the fact it has the ability to bounce more shells, the fact that it can reverse faster, the fact that I was able to live that long in that situation as it was, shows a testament to how good the Type is. So, let me know in the comments down below what you think, but hopefully enjoy today's video, and at the end of the day, It's just an opinion. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.